Hey, good evening, everybody. Today's next recipe is cauliflower with cheese sauce. Okay, this may not be your grandmother's cheese sauce, but it's pretty good, and we'll get to that later in the recipe. But first, one of the reasons I wanted to make cauliflower tonight is it's a neglected vegetable, especially with newer cooks, because they walk by it in the store and they go like, well, yeah, I might want to make that, but like, what do you do with it, right? And then they get to the florets that are overpriced and they've all been picked over and they're wilting and they just forget it, right? So first thing I'm going to do is show you how to deal with the cauliflower, and then I'm going to make the cheese sauce for you and show you that. And then at the end, I'm going to just, be ready to put it together, because this is one thing that you do want to cook right before you want to eat it, which is not right now. And I'll be using those breadcrumbs that I made earlier today. Okay, so cauliflower cooks really fast in a pressure cooker. This is my preferred method. If you haven't got a pressure cooker, you should probably either steam it or boil it. All right, I like the pressure cooker because it's really quick. It takes about 2 minutes when it comes to a boil. And I got some boiling water to speed things up in the back. But first thing is to get the cauliflower chopped up. So once it's out of the packaging, first thing you should do is visually inspect it, all right? Now, instead of cutting my fingers off with that big knife, I don't know if you can see it here. I think I probably should tilt this a little, yeah. Okay, there are a couple of dark bits on it. Generally what I do is I just peel those off right at the beginning instead of hunting them after, okay? You can leave them in it, probably not going to affect the taste that much. I just like to have everything cleaned up before I start to go. Okay, so once that's done, get your leaves, all right, and start breaking these off. So get the cauliflower face down, the round part at the bottom, okay, and with a big sharp knife, keeping your hands clear, cut it right down the middle, okay? Now, for the next bit, you can use the small knife, okay? And what you do, or you can do it by hand, 2 ways, okay? What you want to do is you want to start breaking off the florets, okay? You can either just cut them out like that, okay? I prefer to just break them off. Once you have these down into florets, then you get your little knife out and you trim off the hard bits. So place the florets in the cooking vehicle of your choice. Pressure cooker for me, if you got a pot to boil it in or steam it in. Okay. I always cover with pre-boiled water to speed up the cooking time. Like I said, this is 2 minutes once it comes to a full boil. It's 2 to 3 generally, but since it's going in the oven, I want to undercook it now. So while the cauliflower is heating up, I'll start preparing the cheese sauce. Now for this, I'm using my homemade oven yogurt. If you haven't got some of this, you can use store-bought instead, or you can just substitute an equal volume of milk. What I do is I use about a cup of the yogurt. Because I don't have that much cauliflower. Okay. And maybe just a little bit more so you can see the nice pour on this. Okay. Yeah, it's good. And what I'm going to do is thin this out with about a cup of water. Okay. I love these glasses because when they're filled at this level, it's an even cup, and I've measured them. They're great. I don't know if you've got some like this, but you should try to get some. Okay, so just gently stir that with a spoon. You want this mixed up before you start making the roux. because it's pretty quick then and you don't want the roux to burn. Now, if for whatever reason your sauce starts getting away from you and it's getting too thick, it is quite acceptable to keep a little bit of milk. I might keep like a half a glass of milk on the side just to thin it down if I need to. Okay, so that's looking nice. Now, next is to prepare the roux, and that's the Parmesan for after. But for the roux, I'm going to have approximately 2 tablespoons of butter, and equivalent approximately by visual volume of flour. Cauliflower just came to a boil in the cooker. So I'm going to melt the butter quickly over medium heat. Not too high. You don't want this to brown. That's 2 minutes. That went by pretty quick, eh? So, if this happens to you, just turn the heat off the butter while you deal with the cauliflower. And because the cooking time is so short, I definitely do want to use the sink cold water method to stop it cooking. Yeah, so I put the cooker in the sink, push this up half a notch there, and just get the cold water right on the lid. Till it cools down enough that you can safely release the pressure. Okay? I'll take that out of the hot water and just let it drain on the side. So as you can see, the butter has been well behaved in our absence. And it's all nicely melted now. So I'm going to just toss all the flour in at once. Well, I've got the remainder of the ingredients all assembled here. The butter is cooking in the flour quietly. You want it to bubble up a bit like it's doing, but you definitely don't want it to brown. Alright, so I've got the yogurt and water mixture. I've got my 2 cheeses. I've got about an ounce of grated Parmesan. And yes, I'm using some cheddar slices, okay? This is actually real cheddar. This is not cheese food or cheese product or whatever that crap is, okay? This is actual cheddar. And I got a half a glass of some rescue milk if I need it. Okay, so add a bit at a time. Not all of it. Stir that in to thicken up. It's just about thicken up. Add a bit more. Stir it again. You see how fast that thicks up, eh? And the rest. You will want to turn the heat down slightly at this point. You want this to simmer, but you don't want it to come to a full boil. Okay, so this is where you look at the cheese sauce very carefully and start to see that it is starting to form little bubbles, not really big ones. And there's a nice steam coming off the top. What's important is you don't want it to break right now, okay? So, take your first cheese and sprinkle it over the top. Stir that in. Okay, once that's incorporated, get a few cheese slices. Now this is to taste again. What you can do, I start with 2 or 3 and break them into small chunks first. Just drop them in. So you can see the cheese is starting to melt, the cheddar. Yeah, I'm definitely going to go ahead and add 2 or 3 more slices. Now you'll notice I don't put salt in this, okay? There is enough salt in both of the cheeses to more than compensate for taste. And at the end I will put a little pepper in the breadcrumbs with a bit of butter, and that's it. Now if you happen to have it, celery seed goes surprisingly well with this. However, my dinner guest doesn't like it, so I'm not putting any in. All the cheese has been melted in. It's looking a little grainy, so I am going to add just a bit of milk and see if I can improve the texture, because you don't want the sauce to break. Yeah. Okay, a bit more. The more cheese you add, the more likely you'll have to add milk at the end. Yeah, that's just fine. So I'm just going to take this off the heat right away. I've transferred the cauliflower to the serving, the baking dish, sorry. Well, it'll be the serving on the baking dish. And just give you a nice shot here so you can see how well this is cooked, okay? It's just a little underdone, and it's ready for the oven, okay? Now, I know it looks like a lot of sauce, but it is going to cook down in the oven. Now, the last step is to prepare the breadcrumbs. And for those of you that watched the earlier recipe, I'm going to use a ½ cup of the breadcrumbs I made just this afternoon, and I will get another couple of tablespoons of butter. 1½ or so should be enough. Okay, about that much. Okay, and grind a little pepper into it. Now, either you can microwave this quickly, or you can just rub it with a spoon. I'm going to do both. So the butter's been in there for 10 seconds, which is just enough. So those are just a nice texture now, a little fluffy. Butter's all the way worked through. These you can either put in the fridge or keep at room temperature until you're ready to make it. The cauliflower I'm definitely going to be putting in the fridge. The cheese sauce, when it cools enough, I am going to transfer to a bowl and keep in the fridge right until I'm ready to make it. You don't want to cool off the cheese sauce too fast or it will break. Well, I got the oven heating up to 425 because I'm going to cook the cauliflower and the fish at the same time. So that's been in the fridge, so has the sauce. As you can see, that's already thickened up. I'm going to be cooking this uncovered because I do want the sauce to reduce in the pan. And now I'm going to just sprinkle the breadcrumbs on top. And this will bake with the fish at 425 for approximately 20 minutes or so. Cauliflower will stay hot for quite a while, so if it's looking a little too brown before the fish is done, I'll just pull it out and let it cool off on the side. Okay, so it's been 20-25 minutes. Time to take the cauliflower out. Oh yeah. Okay, we got a good look at that. You can see that the cheese sauce has reduced nicely and the breadcrumbs are browned. So I'm just going to serve that up in a bowl. Let that cool off a little bit. So there you have it. Cauliflower with cheese sauce. Thanks for watching. Come again.